Sakamoto Days has plenty of really good characters, but what if I told you that I could narrow it down to the 5 best ones? What if I told you that out of all the characters, I had a list of 5 of them of the 5 most interesting, compelling, and entertaining in the entire series? You'd probably disagree with the list, but I figured that today I'd still go over what I consider to be the 5 best characters in Sakamoto Days. Like my 5 worst Sakamoto Days characters video, this won't have much of a criteria, it's just who I like the most and consider to be the best in the entire series. At number 5, we have Shin. I know, basically the main character of the series and he's number 5, but that isn't really anything to do with Shin himself, more so the fact that I think there are a few other characters that compel me to like them a little more. Shin himself, though, is a really solid character. Being Sakamoto's ride or die, he's gone through a lot, and all of those events have given him some incredible growth. He's one of the fastest improvers when it comes to just getting stronger, and his rock-solid resolve to become stronger and protect the ones he loves, while typical of a shonen MC, is still incredibly admirable and nice to see. His power and fighting style are also really entertaining, and I especially love it when Suzuki finds a creative way to expand on Shin's powers. Future Sight is super cool, action manipulation is super cool, and his new method of massively amping his brain processing speed is also really cool. The one thing I do dislike about Shin's character, though, is how it was handled in the prison arc. At the start of the arc, Shin entered feeling a little more aggressive than his usual self. It made sense given his desire to become stronger and the stakes of him getting stronger, and we see that boil over in one of the coolest developments for his character when he fights Tenkyu. The problem, though, is that I feel that this phase of his character just didn't last long enough. Sakamoto shows up after Shin basically just kills Tenkyu and just gives him a flashback to when he found his dad, and that happens to be enough to completely snap Shin back to his old self and act like nothing happened. There aren't any repercussions for Shin almost killing Tenkyu, and Shin himself doesn't grapple with his morality any further. He just says that he's come to his senses, and that's enough to end things. I feel like this whole Shin truly being an assassin idea could have been way more thoroughly explored, but it feels like Suzuki is holding back and removing actual stakes and consequences for Shin's actions from the story in hopes of keeping some parts of the status quo, which in my opinion limits Shin's character. Despite this though, Shin is still a really solid guy to have in the manga, and I still enjoy his presence. At number 4, we have Sakamoto. Sakamoto himself has remained pretty static throughout the story in terms of morality and hasn't really developed all that much, but that's part of his appeal. He's a veteran of the assassin world and only really wants to live a happy life with his family. Despite this, he's still super strong and legitimately is really entertaining to see on screen. His fighting style is a staple of his character, as is his relaxed and unthinking attitude, but when things get serious, it's always hype to see Sakamoto lock in. The one thing I'm heavily anticipating and the one thing that holds Sakamoto back for me is his lack of bloodlust. Once Suzuki shows us a fight with a fully bloodlusted Sakamoto and expands his range of emotions, I might have to move Sakamoto into the top 2. But for now, he stays at number 4. At number 3, we have Shishiba. What can I say? I just love Shishiba. He's kind of like Sakamoto in terms of demeanor, but I find his backstory to be way more interesting. From starting off as a lowly thug to being picked up by Yotimura and becoming a member of the Order to eventually having to kill his mentor, Shishiba's character has been through a lot and has become so interesting because of it. Shishiba is cool, relaxed, and really strong, making him just entertaining to see. Not to mention, he has some great chemistry with characters like Yotimura, Osaragi, and Nagumo, which makes all of their interactions really entertaining. His fighting style, while simple, is still relatively unique since his hammers aren't really a conventional weapon, and his fight with Yotimura has some of the greatest panels and one-liners in the entire series. Lastly, the fact that Shishiba has the potential to defect from the New Order really sells his character to me, showing a strong resolve to his morals that just makes him more likable. At number 2, we have Yotimura. Like Shishiba, Yotimura has an interesting backstory, but in my opinion, it's straight up just the best one in the series. His involvement with the murder of the chairman, his wife betraying him and Amane, and his subsequent exiling from the assassin world was incredibly interesting to see play out, and the fact that Suzuki continually drip feeds his appearances always makes me excited to see more of him. He had such an air of mystery when he first appeared, giving his character a ton of appeal, but even after his backstory was revealed and he lost his fight, that appeal didn't go away. Instead, he's continued to be a D1 aura farmer, having some of the coldest panels and one-liners throughout the entire series. More than that, he's just plain cool. His 3-section staff is awesome, his design is incredible, and when you combine that with his callous and bleak attitude, you get a character that just radiates an unmistakable energy. Moreover, his potential in the series is really high, since Nagumo saved him and used him to find more about Rion's death, so again, another truly goated character. There are so many incredible characters that I'll have to breeze through these honorable mentions, but here it goes. First on the list is Takamura. Takamura is entirely carried by his aura. This man is so good at aura farming that nearly all of his attacks are double page spreads, and all of his appearances are incredibly tough. Unfortunately, outside of unmatched aura, Takamura doesn't really exist as a fully fleshed character. That, however, is part of the point of his character. He has one of the best fights in the series, but he dies in it and it doesn't have much outside of that. Still though, he's an amazing character. Our second to last honorable mention is Rion. Her demeanor is cool, her fighting style is cool, her design is cool, and I love her dynamic with Sakamoto, Nagumo, and Izuki. Additionally, she's had such an insane impact on the series. She's influenced so much despite having so little screen time and literally being dead, since she's the reason Izuki has effectively overthrown the Japanese government and plunged the entire country into chaos. It's just, as with the other honorable mentions, I wish she had more time on screen. If she did, she'd also probably make the main list. Our last honorable mention is Gaku. What can I say? Yet another professional aura farmer, and almost no one does it like Gaku. Returning from the dead and immediately looking for smoke is insane. Catching Takamura's sword with your mouth and being the first one to hurt him is insane. Getting stabbed and then immediately getting stronger is insane. Gaku's smoke demon attitude is just so entertaining to see play out, and his simple but effective fighting style complements it perfectly. His weapon is cool, his design is cool, and his overall demeanor has an unmistakable charm to it. It's just, he might be dead, and that really saddens me. I really hope he isn't, because I want to see him fight again. Now, to no one's surprise, Sakamoto Days' best character is Nagumo. Nagumo has it all. Great design, great demeanor, great fighting style, and is just really entertaining to have on screen. His constantly jokey and relaxed attitude, the pranks he plays on everyone, and his air of innocence, all contrasted with the fact that he's easily top 5 in the series for strength, works so well to create an appeal to his character. He's like Gojo with his easygoing, childish attitude that's complemented by the fact that he's literally the strongest. Nagumo has that same appeal while also holding a ton of mystery. Not much is known about who he works for, his end goals, or his motivations, but all of it works together to create a character with a magnetizing presence. And he's an incredible aura farmer. I'd be lying if that wasn't like half the reason I like Nagumo so much. Nearly all of Nagumo's serious panels are memorable, great to look at, and just give him so much aura. So basically, Nagumo has both immense aura and is legitimately compelling in his demeanor and actions. So, that's my list for the 5 best Sakamoto Days characters. If you'd like to hate me more, check out who I think are the 5 worst Sakamoto Days characters here.